Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Michael, for the welcome introduction. I am delighted to be here. And can everybody hear me? All right, excellent. Well, thank you all for being a part of this special day. I'm excited. I'm fired up. I got a lot to say today, and so bear with me. We will be respectful of your time, but hopefully by the time you leave this address, you'll have a good feel for what I've experienced and then what is to come here for Savannah State. I do want to just acknowledge a few folks, if you would give me a few minutes to acknowledge. First off, I do want to recognize the tremendous staff here at Savannah State. We've had a multitude of individuals that have helped to make this day happen, starting from our marketing team, our IT team, our facilities, our housekeeping team, our culinary professionals. Please give them a round of applause. They've been diligent in just ensuring everything has been done to the greatest expectation. So thank you all. I really appreciate that. I also want to bring greetings on behalf of my wife. She is wrestling with my 4-year-old daughter this morning and our 13-year-old son. She would love to have been here, but you all will see her, I can promise you, in the future if you're attending athletic events and other events here at the institution. But we are delighted to be back in Savannah. We have a number of dignitaries here, several of them right here on the front row, but all dispersed throughout the building. Thank you all for your investment, your advocacy, your allegiance to Savannah State. We cannot do this work without you, so I really, really appreciate you. And then, of course, our core audience, which is our students, our employees, and our alumni. Thank you for what it is you do every day. This is a very, very special place. And so I want to kind of walk you through a journey that I've experienced. Actually, this morning I had a great opportunity to talk to one of my colleagues at Albany, Dr. Scott, who just started his presidency. And he said I believe he was in his 73rd day, and I asked him how things are going. And he said, great. I said, well, you're going great, and I'm going better. So he brings his greetings from across the state. But what I have here, I have a few slides. And I really want to just talk to you. And also for those of you who are watching virtually, thank you all for waking up wherever you all are. Thank you to all of our newscasts. We appreciate your partnership. So I'm going to go through a few slides to kind of give you some highlights of my experience and then really talk about the future. 100 days typically is about, what does the president accomplish? And this will not be that speech, okay? It's not really about what I've accomplished. Really, it's about what we've been doing. What I've experienced and then kind of where we're headed. Okay, so bear with me, and we'll make sure that we get through these slide decks here. So let's start. Make sure I can go to the first slide. I don't know if I'm standing in the right spot or not. But I have a few images that I do want to showcase of just the experience. I got here April 1, which, by the way, was not Fool's Day. And it was a warm morning. We had our interim provost was here to greet me right at the front door. We had our staff to help me unload some boxes and things like that. And then the band and the cheerleaders and some folks who were really, really up. It was like 7:30 in the morning. And I was also connected to the Sand Gnats. I honestly forgot about them, having lived here back in 2011 and moved in 2014, and they reminded me that they still exist. And that was my first day. It was a lot of great energy, a lot of momentum, got the keys to the university from the Scipio. And then later that day, which I thought was very special, I don't know if Dr. Pride is in here, but it was our research day, our undergraduate research showcase. And it was my first opportunity to meet with students and get to see what was happening. We had over 100 students presenting their research here at the university. And so as a president coming in, what a wonderful opportunity to kind of hear their stories. This was undergraduate and graduate students. And we really, really enjoyed that opportunity to connect. The unique thing for me was they didn't know who I was. So I was able to come in and just ask questions as a visitor. But I really got a great sense that we have a strong research foundation here, but more importantly, we have a lot of engagement for faculty. And so you're going to hear me talk about that experience As you kind of fast forward that week, I did also make a few announcements to our faculty and staff, met with our faculty senate president as well as our staff council president. I do want to recognize both of those gentlemen, Dr. Amanga, who was here. We met, had a phenomenal conversation about the role of faculty and shared governance, and I really respect his leadership. And then Johnny, who is over our staff council, has done a wonderful job leading the staff, and both of these gentlemen recently got reelected as their presidents. And one of the first things I was able to do, working with our interim CBO, Jerry, was make an investment in our employees. That was something that we had not done in a while. And so we gave every full-time faculty member at Savannah State a $1,000 investment in their research and professional development. And right behind that, we gave an investment of $25,000 to our staff council to ensure that they have the funding to support their endeavors, because if we want to achieve what it is we want to achieve, we need to ensure that we're investing in our people. So that was my first array, and I can tell you that faculty were excited. We were right here on this stage, and I announced that they clapped. So I was happy that they were happy. And then our staff, of course, we had a tremendous staff council meeting in the Elmore Theater, and again, very, very strong response. So what I want to cover with you today, this is just an agenda. I'm still a teacher by heart, so I have to give you an itinerary so you know where we're headed. But we will go through a few images here of the first 100 days, which I'm talking through now. We will talk about the institution's strategic plan, and we'll talk about what I call SSU 2.0, kind of where we're headed. And I do have two unique dates that have not been published publicly, so you're going to get the inside scoop today, okay? So let's see if tech is working. Ah, there we go. So here's just, again, I told you what happened, so here's the images of the first day journey here at the institution. Incredible opportunity to connect with folks. As we went through, after I met faculty senate, met with the staff council, we had another big event. Again, these things just kind of rolled right in amongst themselves. Was the gala. The scholarship gala was right down the road that weekend. And for those who have not seen my wife, that's her on my left-hand side there. Thank God she said yes several years ago. 14 years. I got to tell you this embarrassing story. I actually proposed to her during my second master's degree thesis. That's not a normal place to make a proposal. But that's how we met, and she said yes, and we've been together, again, 14 years as of April this year. So incredible lady. But the gala was a highlight for me to, again, not only see our students be celebrated, but just really the enormous amount of support. We had over 900 attendees at that gala, raising money to support our students and ensuring that they have the ability to pursue their dreams. Right behind that, again, we had a lot of events. We had our honors convocation, so we had the opportunity to represent the greatness of our students, the students who have been making the president's list, the dean's list, different honors based upon their academic credentials, as well as recognize our faculty members of the year. And again, what a great highlight for me to be able to be a part of that early in the presidency. And so really enjoyed that. Had several receptions to get to meet employees and staff here at the institution, and that went well. And many of you hopefully were here when the chancellor came down. So he came down, and we held several town halls right here with community members, alumni, students. The picture at the bottom left was one in which we had a whole line of people asking a ton of questions. And we just took them one by one and really had an opportunity to hear. And that's the key thing. The 100 Day was really focused on listening and hearing, a wonderful lunch, and then at the end we're able to kind of wrap that up into a summary. And so all this input that has been happening here institutionally and ongoing. Pretty much every week I'm still meeting with department heads, department chairs, directors at the institution. It's been an ongoing engagement for me to really get a feel for what's happening, what we need to do. And so still really enjoying that process. Now, to me, the highlight of academics, doesn't matter what you do in the academy, graduation is generally the highlight. And I will tell you, I was so excited about being a part of this year's graduating class. 2025 is a special class. Many of you know those students dealt with COVID and the interruptions and all of those things. And so to see them come across the finish line was a historic day, but for me also just to be a part of that. But what also made this graduation unique is that for the first time in over 20 years, we did not host it on Savannah State's campus. Okay, that was a big change. More importantly, we did it inside, which made a lot of people happy. Okay. You know, air conditioning is not overrated in the summer, in the spring in Savannah. But I will tell you again, just an opportunity to brag. We had to make a big pivot, okay? Many of you probably remember that week, the forecast was terrible, terrible storm conditions on that Friday. And, you know, I just got here, people were like, what are we gonna do? I made the call on a Tuesday. Graduation was Friday, I believe. I said, move it indoors, call Inmark. We didn't even know if Inmark had space available, okay? They said yes, and this team, our committee, transitioned an entire graduation within 4 days. That is unheard of. And not only did they do it, it was highly successful. Nobody called me upset, and people made it across safely. And so I was very, very pleased with that level of engagement. But again, it goes to just show you we have the talent here. We have incredible people that work here that make things happen. And so thanks to that team for making this day special for our graduates and their families. Along with that, we celebrated our employees over the last 100 days. We had our faculty and staff get together, which typically is the highlight of bringing folks in. We recognized this year's Staff Employee of the Year. Where's Miss Lisa Scipio? She's probably working. Lisa was that person, definitely deserving of that recognition. Enjoyed a great lunch. They had me to dance. There was no film on that. And then got down the road to Atlanta to celebrate, again, our students with the chancellor. So, you know, a lot of activity on campus. Which you also probably noticed is I was just as busy the last 100 days off campus, okay? Getting out in the community, getting to see our stakeholders. One thing I told the garrison commander at Fort Stewart when we got there that morning to take a tour, he did not tell me we were going to get in a helicopter nor we were going to be jumping out of one. But I jumped in anyways, and that was a great experience. And our military community so much loves Savannah State. They want to get a deeper relationship, and you'll see a lot more of that activity. Not me jumping out the plane, but more activity of us engaging with them in the future. Our chambers have been wonderful. Our school districts going out in our middle schools is important for us to do that if we want to build pathways to connections. Our veteran support with the Warrior Alliance has been a big opportunity. They're going to be hosting the largest PACT ACT event here on August 1st. You continue to go down the images here, talking to the city of Pooler, the 100 black men of Savannah. I mean, you can go on and on and on. We've been busy these past 100 days, really getting out, collaborating, forging partnerships, talking to different institutions, and understanding how are ways that we can connect. Okay, that has really been the story of my 100 days. Now, it continues on. One thing that, when I got here, I was living in an Airbnb for the first 2 months, or technically 3 months, and my family was still in Augusta. You know, my son was finishing out middle school, so we didn't want to move him late May to move here. And so I remember one evening, I called my wife, and I said, I got this international trip I got to go to. And she said, where? I said, South Korea. She says, when are you going to South Korea? I said, well, in June. She was like, well, we got to get the house together and moving and all this stuff. I said, well, that was not on the bingo card when I first took this job. But we're going to make it work. But that image at the very top was a very powerful opportunity for Savannah State and our other institution of higher ed to go to South Korea in partnership with Hyundai. And that has been a great, great marriage. We have some announcements. I'll just tell you to stay tuned as it relates to Hyundai this fall that we're excited about. But going out and really collaborating has been one of my dear highlights to really understand that community and what they're bringing here to Southeast Georgia. Again, you can kind of see dealing with and engaging with our churches. We have a lot of great things going on. And so you'll continue to see us be a part of that, not just myself, but our cabinet, our academic deans, getting out in the community. And I think that's important. Savannah State, we are Savannah's university. And that's been the impetus behind this level of activity in the first 100 days. And in my shameless plug slot I had to put in here, the media. They're back here screaming live today. Our media partners have been tremendous, opening their doors for us to tell the story of Savannah State. That's something that we are incredibly passionate about. That's something that I want everybody to hear loud and clear, not just locally, but also nationally. So appreciate all of our local media markets opening the doors and allowing us to come in and cherish this wonderful asset here in the greater Savannah community. Now, hopefully that gives you a quick rundown of what I've been doing. And someone asked me if I'm eating and sleeping. Yes, those two things did occur within all of these images you saw. So I still do eat and sleep. But again, I've been so excited. Very, very excited. I get up in the morning, I jump up, and I'm ready to get to work because of what's happening here at Savannah State. So I got a 4-word reflection. I keep being asked, like, how's the experience? How's the experience? So I boiled it down to 4 words, and this has been tough for me to tell you how the first 100 days have been, okay? But I think this surmises what I've felt. So the first one that just kept coming up is family. Family. I have inherited a large family here at Savannah State. Not just the students, the employees, not just the alumni, but everybody that's in this community. I consider you family. So you're my first cousins, if you like it or not. Okay? We're locked in now. But that's great. And families have different ideas. Families have different priorities. They have all sorts of thoughts about how the institution should move and how it should shape. So really, as a family, I'm taking in all of that and understanding it and trying to ensure that we have a path forward to be able to do the things that we can at the highest levels. The other thing, or the second word that comes to mind for me is vested. People are really vested in Savannah State. I mean, seriously vested. And I've worked at other institutions, and I have 5 degrees. I got 5 alumni that I support. But I will tell you, bar none, nobody's been vested like Savannah State people. Okay, that's something we can applaud. Okay. And I think that vested piece comes from the next word that I feel personally, this is just my word, which is I'm inspired. I'm inspired. Every time I sit down with an alumnus of this institution from any year, and they start telling me the story of what happened while they were here, and their instructors, and the mentors, and the fraternities or sororities, or the athletic teams they served on, or the SGA experiences that they had, or the service that they provided, or their first job in Savannah, I am inspired. I'm truly inspired by that, because what that tells me, that this place has left an indelible mark on you, and you want that same experience to be replicated for somebody else. We can do a lot with that, okay? Inspiration is very, very important in our business. And then the last one might come off a little controversial, but not to me. People here are hungry. They're hungry. And when I mean hungry to win. Hungry to be number one. Hungry to be the best in the state, period. And I'm a competitive person, so I like to be number one, okay? So I have that same level of hunger. I want to get to that level of prestige and excellence that we all aspire to have. But there's a way about how we do that. We got to be intentional. We got to be strategic. We got to be thoughtful. So being hungry is important because that will help us to engage. So that's my reflection, okay? So now, what else has happened? Some other important things have happened in 100 days, and I wanted to make sure that we noted this. At the end of the day, President Whirl cannot move this institution by himself. And I think I'm all that in a bag of chips, okay? At least that's what my wife tells me. But I cannot do it by myself. cannot do it. It takes a team, okay? And when I came in here 100 days ago, we had a lot of vacancies. We had a lot of interims. We spent a lot of time doing searches. Thanks to all of you who've been on these search committees. We know it takes time. But that patience is filling in the gap. And so what you'll see here on this slide are just a few of some of the key roles that we have permanently filled since I've been in office. This is, to me, is one of the most significant things that we have done. What you'll see is that last bullet point is that we will be announcing our new provost and VP for academic affairs next Monday morning. So that person has said, yes, they're ready to get to work. But for those of you who have been recently appointed, if you see your title up here, could you please stand? Just stand wherever you are, just so people can see you. Thank you. You know, I tell people it's important to have good team members. It's important to celebrate people. Because guess what? They don't have to work here. There's other places to work. I don't take it for granted that people make the decision to work at Savannah State. So thank you all for being a part of Tiger Nation. We're going to do a lot together. So if you came into campus, you probably ran into some capital projects going on. Okay? I won't go through all of them, but I will highlight a few that are pretty important, and then I'll talk about one in particular that's extremely transformational. So, and again, in the last 100 days, we've been busy working on buildings, renovations. Very, very fortunate that we have some additional funding from the state this year that's really allowed us to do some things. But the one right when you came in on the main road, that's a infrastructure stormwater project that's very important for us. I think you all know that drainage and flooding is an issue. So I wanted to tackle that day one for that first part of the main campus. And so we're doing that, building some new sidewalks, helping with the aesthetics. But then the other small things that you may not see, new locks on our classroom doors for campus safety security if we need to lock down campuses. Where we've built or created new gates on both sides of the campus. And we're also going to be electrifying those so that our students and employees can tag a badge and be able to access those gates accordingly. Here at the front of the main campus, again, that Welcome Center where you come in and you're being checked, we will have a new center. That will be torn down and a brand new one will be built. It will be nicer. And then, of course, for those who are coming in, if you're an employee student, you can be able to tag your badge, keep going, and we'll have a true visitor entryway. So all of that stuff is in the work. A whole bunch more going on, campus-wide facilities, residential halls, all of this stuff is happening as we speak. So it's been a very busy summer to try to get all of this done before August starts. And we've also been moving offices. So our College of Education has just moved to Payne Hall, renovating Whiting. So there's a lot of activity that we will continue to do as we get ready for fall. But there's one project in particular that I just wanted to spend a moment on that I think is important. This will not obviously get done in the first 100 days, but this will be a transformative project that was recently approved, now funded and supported by the Board of Regents in the state of Georgia. And this is our new Health Wellness Engagement Center. When I came here in April, and I don't know if Edna Jackson's in the room, but I do want to shout out Ms. Jackson. Edna Jackson had worked with our team during the legislative session to secure some design funding in the amount of $6.5 million cash. That was in the amended 2025 budget. And so we have that money to design a brand new facility. And what it will focus on is really the old Wilcox building, the old part of King Frazier, and then also building a new athletic facility right in the middle, right across the street here, between the Student Union and the Tiger Arena. Now, why is this important? We know students are, the expectation is to have a wonderful space for them to do recreation, yoga, dancing, weightlifting, basketball, walking, swimming, all of those things. We want to have a phenomenal rec center. And right now ours is pretty dated. It's really original to the campus. So we'll upgrade that on the bottom half of the campus. We're also going to redo the old part of King Frazier, where the bookstore currently is. We'll upgrade that piece. We've talked about building, if those of you who've been on the backside of campus know, we have a beautiful view of the marsh, but it's really not accessible. So we're looking at building a boardwalk that you can walk the entire backside of the marsh and seeing that and opening up that view. And then here right across the street, building a new facility that's not only focused on recreation, but allows us to move into academic programming, whether it's exercise science, kinesiology, something in the health space in the future, which I'll talk about in a second. So that project has already been approved by the Board of Regents. This is a multi-million-dollar, I can't tell you how much multi-millions, but it's a lot, okay? That's already been approved. We got that approval in May. Got the letter from the chancellor. So it's green lighted to move forward. We're going to be working forward on the design this year. And then 2027, 2028, construction and FF&E to follow. That's a huge project, and that's a big win for Savannah State, and more importantly for our students. So you'll see more to come on that. We'll be engaged in ensuring that we get students support and understanding. I have just kind of this is not an image of what the building will look like, but this is kind of an exemplar of what we're looking for our students, a high-level, beautiful, open facility, because we want them to enjoy that recreational space here on campus, in addition to the outdoor space that we already provide. And so more to come on this, but I'm really, really excited. We have some other things lined up, and one of the things that we always have to pace is when we get a big project like this, we have to wait a few years before we get another big one, but my patience is small. So we're going to work to try to accomplish some other things that might be in that $30 to $40 million range, similar to this in terms of size and scope, but more to come as we move into the upcoming legislative session. So that's all capital. So this is what what I want to do. I want to kind of put a point there that tells you what we've been working on just within the past 100 days. So nothing important, just working. Really what I want to focus the rest of the presentation on is the future. Okay, so we've had a phenomenal 100 days. We got great leadership in place. We got capital projects on the way, but let's talk about the future. And hopefully you all have heard hashtag the uproar. If you haven't put that in your lingual, okay, hashtag the uproar. This was a part of my presentation to the search committee when I applied for this job, because I told them that we have a ferocious tiger that's about to start roaring, okay, and very loud. Okay, so we're about to make some noise. So you're going to get a little bit of the insight in terms of where we're going and what we're projected to do for years to come. So we'll talk about the uproar plan. First off, these are just kind of the pillars of the plan. I wanted to let you know that we have begun strategic planning. It's going on right now. It began on the 13th of June. We brought in an outside consultant. His name is Dr. Tony Robinson. He's been meeting with a whole group of individuals. Individually, he's been doing focus groups. He just met with the SGA leadership. He's been on campus pretty much twice every week, and he's doing a lot of work behind the scenes. We will have 3 days in August that will be open to community members, leaders, so I expect you all to come back again. We'll have one just for alumni as well, so this is your opportunity to give your solicited advice back to Savannah State. And he will work through that process. Our goal is that we will capture everything and have this plan wrapped up and ready to go by October. But high level, what I told him I expected to have in the plan are these 5 things. Okay, number one, student success was absolutely number one. That's the only reason why we exist. Okay, it's about success of students. So that will be a major part of this plan. How we get there, how we succeed, KPIs, we will get down that road. Culture was important to me, okay? Those of you who know here at Savannah State, we've had a lot of change in leadership. We've had a lot of vacancies, we've had a lot of interims, and so I want to make sure that we focus on culture, because culture does eat strategy for breakfast. That is a very true statement. If we want to be the best, we have to have the appropriate culture to reach that. That's internal and external of the institution. Students, today, we have to have something that will differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, and that's really about the learning environment, okay? the learning environment has to be not only aesthetically pleasing, but it also has to really focus on applied learning. Students don't only want to just learn theoretically by sitting in classes, they want to get involved. And so that means our labs, that means the hands-on instruction, that means the things that we can do to supplement that instruction virtually, sim labs, all those things. We're going to focus on that because that's what they're looking for. So we'll talk more about learning environments. Storytelling. We've done an okay job of that here at Savannah State, but within my 100 days, we got a whole bunch more stories to tell. Okay, and that's not just of our students and what they're doing, our faculty, what they're doing, but also our alumni and the activities and successes that you all are having. We got to better tell that story, not only in the traditional format, but the digital space, and then how does that parlay into our overarching recruitment strategy. So we have a lot of work to do on storytelling. And then the last piece I think is very, very important, community engagement. We got to be out in the community. That's a must. You cannot be an anchor institution and not be involved in the community. So that means myself, members of cabinet serving on local boards, being involved, not just sitting on a board, but being involved, ensuring that we give back, getting our students involved in service learning. We need to be actively in the community. And I believe if we do these 5 things and ensure that it's in the plan, we will get where we need to be, okay? Now, within that, I layered 5 presidential pillars. If we do these things well, we should be able to achieve, okay? First one, you heard me talk about it already. Top 25 HBCU. We're ranked 51 right now. That's U.S. News World Report. They rank us every year. We know what the metrics are. We know how we get ranked. And I just personally tell you, I started this conversation saying I like to win. There is not 50 HBCUs better than Savannah State, period. No disrespect to any of them. I think they're all great, but we need to be in the top 25. And then once we get top 25, then we're going to come for the top 10. That's just the expectation, okay? We want to win Georgia. We're not the only HBCU in the state of Georgia. We have some fine institutions. I talked about one earlier today. But we want to be the first choice. The first choice. So that 16, 17-year-old that just rolls out the best, I want to go to college. Savannah State should be right on top of mine. Okay? And if we do that well, we should also eventually be the largest in terms of student enrollment in the state of Georgia. We've been around since 1890. We're the oldest public HBCU. Everybody knows that. It's time for doctorate degrees. It's time. I'm going to talk more about that in a few minutes, but when I applied, I'm like, why doesn't SSU have doctorate degrees? And I look at other similarly sized institutions and they have them. We just need to just do it, and we will do that. When you look at our graduates, and this is not just Savannah State, this is really most HBCUs across the country. We have to ensure that when a student graduates, we get them into gainful employment opportunities day one. That's incredibly important, not only to the student, definitely to mom and dad. Okay? I feel we're doing people a disservice, and that's one thing that the chancellor and I, we talk about a lot of things, but that's one thing we hone in on. The return on investment of a college education has to be there. It's not just about just coming to college and getting an education, which is important. Education will transform your lives, but it will not transform your pocketbook unless you are aligned with regional workforce needs. And so that's a must, okay? What that means is that relationship, all of my business employers I'm looking at in the room, we got to have a marriage so that we can get those students connected before they graduate. And selfishly, we want them to stay here in the region. That's a whole nother conversation, but that's the goal, okay? So we want to ensure that we increase their social economic mobility because we know if we do that and they're successful, that means that their children will be successful. There's a rolling impact for education. I'm a living product of that. My parents were first in their families to go to college. My dad, my mother. My dad ended up having 3 small businesses. My mother retired for 39 years in the hospital. I also moved from a one-bedroom house to a four-bedroom house in the suburbs. Changed my entire life. So I'm a huge believer in education. Huge. We got to do that. And then for the greater Savannah area, I think this is important. We should be driving economic development. CETA does a great job going out around the world selling Savannah. They have one thing that they have to sell. That's talent. If we don't have talent, they don't have anything to sell. That's just truthful. Chamber does a great job celebrating the business environment, making sure that we have all the things we need for them to be successful, but they need talent. And they need talent that will be willing to stay here and have the skills and abilities to meet the workforce challenges of today and tomorrow. If we do this one, we all will win. Okay? Everybody in this room is going to win. I can promise you that. So we want to drive that, and we can talk about how we drive economic development. We have the skills and abilities to do that. So this is what I've layered on top of the strategic plan, kind of high-level things that I believe we need to achieve, and then the plan will actually help us to execute that. So let's get a little bit more into the weeds of where we're going. So it all starts with this acronym here, R3. If you're familiar with the Carnegie designations, you have R1s, which is the highest level of research. You have R2s. We have an R2 next door neighbor, Georgia Southern, and then you have R3s. I am moving this institution to becoming an R3 status institution, okay, R3. So that means we are moderate research in terms of spend. We have about $28 million in our portfolio right now that's sponsored research over the next few years, which is very, very good, by the way. We want to continue to grow that. So that's moderate research, but that also means select number of doctorate degrees and applied fields that will help our region win. And that's what we're going towards. We've been kind of a master's level Carnegie designation, a small master's program, mostly undergrad degree catalog. We want to move into R3 status. That means that we're going to have to do things differently. That impacts our library, that impacts our faculty of research, that impacts our catalog. It impacts a lot of those things. But I believe we can do it. We already have the talent to do it. We just have not had that as set as the bar to reach. Now, R3 also means something else. It means you become an anchor institution, okay? You become an anchor institution, and I'm going to talk more about that in a few minutes. But this is the academic roadmap that we're pursuing, and everybody's pursuing different things. The R2s are becoming R1s, and the M3s want to become R3s, and so everybody's trying to aggressively get there. Now, how do we do it? Well, structurally, since 1979, Savannah State has had 4 academic colleges. I'm an historian, so when I applied for this job, I actually went back and I read every academic college catalog from Savannah State from 1940 to 1999. It's an interesting read. It's all available on Google. You can go Google it. And like many institutions, we had academic divisions, right? And then the first academic college was established in 1979. It was the College of Business Administration, COBA. Okay, 1980, for those of you who understand the history of higher ed in Georgia, 1980, something uniquely happened. That was the first time that the funding formula in the state of Georgia was established, 1980. By the way, it has not changed since 1982. That's a whole other conversation. But when that change occurred, Savannah State pivoted, the president at the time pivoted and created 2 additional academic colleges, COST, College of Science and Technology, and in CLASS, the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. Many of you know the history of the College of Education, trade with Armstrong. That didn't come back here until about 2013, so we brought that back in-house, so now we have 4 colleges, but this has been the construct since 1980, okay? Has not changed. It's time for a change for a number of reasons. Number one, the 80s were great. I was born in the 80s, okay, so I know. Great time. But the world has changed since the 80s. More importantly, we need to ensure that our academic colleges are representative of the academic programs that we're offering, and they also speak to where we're supposed to head based upon regional and workforce demand. So effective August 1 this year, we have made the decision to make a change in our organizational academic chart. So we're going from these 4 academic colleges to these 5 new academic colleges. The College of Business Administration, no change in the name. College of Education, no change in the name. But we now have 3 new academic colleges effective August 1. The first one is the College of Engineering, Technology, and Computing. You know, this is very important. Bert, he remembers this. I went to your chamber meeting a month ago, 2 months ago, and I asked a very simple question to members of the chamber board of directors. How many of them knew we had an engineering program here at Savannah State? Only 3 people raised their hand. 3. That told me everything I knew. We're not branding our engineering programs. So by having this one change, we just did something historical, you all. You all are right here in an historical moment. Do you not know that there are no other HBCUs in the state of Georgia that has a College of Engineering except now Savannah State? Matter of fact, our engineering programs are ABET accredited. One of the only few that has that, and now we have a full college only dedicated to that to support all of our partners. I'm excited about our computing programs. Many of you know about our cyber, computer science. We're going to be uplifting that now that it has its own identity, its own branding. We'll talk more about that. One of the other big opportunities that I thought was important coming in is really ensuring that we have cross-interdisciplinary research opportunities. For a long time, we had class and cost, both very, very strong, but it did not allow the opportunity for my liberal arts, humanities faculty to work with the science faculty. And if you know anything about how research funding happens, guess what? Those proposals, they're looking for interdisciplinary research. They want the science faculty to be working with humanities. That's how you get NSF funding. That's how you get NIH funding. That's how you get a lot of these big grants. It's all about the interdisciplinary research. And so what we did with class, we took the humanities faculty from class and we took the sciences from cost and we put those faculty together under one umbrella. And now it's called COSH. The College of Science and Humanities. And then what that allowed us to do was free up, to me, one of our hidden jewels here at Savannah State. How many of you know we got a band program? How many of you know we got the best mass communication program? We got a fantastic visual arts, fine arts program here. And no disrespect to SCAD, but I hear SCAD all the time when it comes to this. SCAD. And SCAD is great. But we wanted to do something to stand up the media, the art, and the communication programs here at the Savannah State University. And now, we have CMAC. CMAC is in the house, not Christian McCaffrey. Okay, but CMAC is one of our newest colleges, and it really will allow us in the Kennedy Building in Whiting to really foster innovation with those programs of study, have a singular focus, branding really focus on that, and we have big plans, big plans for those program areas. And so this is something that we want to do for 3 main reasons. Number one, we wanted to have clarity for those who are looking for programming to say, oh, they have something in my area of interest. Number 2, I always say this, you know, when I go back to Winthrop University for homecoming, normally when I go back, I go to the game, the tailgating, and then I go back to the College of Business because that's where my degree came in. And so we wanted to ensure our alumni had alignment to be able to go back to an academic college where they will reside with their other peers. And then the third opportunity for us to be truthful, where's Mr. Scott? if you want to write a check to put your name on one of these colleges, we'll be glad to have that conversation with you, okay? So it provides naming opportunities. But that money will then, of course, go back to support our students, right, and our faculty and research. So very, very, very excited about this. At some point, you all, I know alumni, we will have merch and shirts and coffee and all that stuff, coffee cups, so that you can celebrate your academic college. We want you to be proud of that. But you'll see more about this starting August 1. Okay, so this reorganization has been an exciting opportunity for us. Now, within all of that, what's happening academically? So we have, and at the cabinet level, have shared just a few thoughts. We have not really fleshed this out, but this is just based upon data. Okay, so what we've heard, what I've heard over the 100 days in terms of programs. People are like, what type of programs are we going to produce? Well, this is what I'm hearing. Doesn't mean we're going to do all of these. I want to make that clear. But this is from industry. This is from feedback from faculty, from the undergraduate to the master's level to the doctorate level programs that we're forecasting as opportunities for Savannah State University. I will not read all of these verbatim. There's too much to cover. But I will simply share that right now, one of the things that's going to be critical for us over the next year is that we begin to position ourselves for what's called a SAC-COC level change. Okay, so right now, our accrediting body basically approves us to offer at the master's degree, period. We can't offer anything higher than that. So our first goal is to move up to what's called level 5 SAC-COC approval, which means we can now author a doctorate degree in the future. That's going to take about a year worth of work. Working with Dr. Lambright and the team, we will begin working to get that approval through SACS. Once we get the green light to do it, that means that we can offer any level of doctorate degrees after approval. So we got some work to do that. But more importantly, this gives us, at least from what we've heard from industry, what are those big, big programmatic things that we want you to do? Now, I want to also mention that these programs are not just all degree. We also heard from industry that they want certificates. They want micro-credentials, badges, short-term stackable programs. And so it doesn't really mean that we're going to do something that's just a degree-oriented program. We have to meet folks where they are. And so looking at the cross-section of the program offerings, some of these may come out as a degree, some of it may not. But I'm excited that we already have the capabilities to do it. We got the faculty, and in some areas we're going to have to invest more into the future. But this gives us a roadmap, okay? And this is not a complete roadmap. This is just based upon feedback and based upon data from the area. So I'm excited because, again, there's a lot of growth opportunities in terms of programmatic opportunities for Savannah State. Now, the other big part that we have not done yet, which is why we wanted to reorganize our academic colleges, is to establish two things that are pretty unique in higher ed. You can call them academic centers, research centers, or academic institutes. Right now, we currently do not have those here under our umbrella. We've been talking to two major foundations within the last 100 days that are very, very interested in starting research centers here at Savannah State in partnership with a few of our academic programs. We'll be bringing one down in September for a large meeting. They're bringing their entire board of directors down. This will be a substantial opportunity for us, not only to get a name that everybody in the world will know who this person is, but also the ability to bring in funding to stand up one of our first research centers. And I'm extremely excited because now it allows our faculty to do some things outside of just teaching and outside of traditional research. This will be a hub, and our goal is not only for the interdisciplinary research to happen with other faculty, but also for it to be a service to our community. Okay, we're going to be able to serve the community by having services to provide to the greater Savannah area. And so, huge opportunity. Two in particular we're lining up. We have a third that we're talking to right now. But that will, again, increase the vigor and the approach that we have here at Savannah State. Now, we have not finished with academic colleges. So I talked about those 5 colleges that are starting August 1. We got 3 research centers that we're having discussions with, and we got 2 more academic colleges that I want to get stood up in the next 5 years. So let's talk about them. First one, university college. Extremely important. Some universities, they have them, some don't. But I will tell you, my 100-day assessment of Savannah State, we definitely need a university college. So they look and they feel differently depending upon where you are, but here's the basis of it, okay? The basis of it is if you have a entering freshman coming into your institution, they're going to enter into your university college. Oh, did I go back a slide? There we go. They're going to enter into your university college. So they might select business as their major or engineering as their major, but they're going to enter into this university college. And what it does, it provides a uniform academic program of study for the first 2 years of that student's experience. And we want that. We want every student to have that same experience. They're going to learn the alma mater. They're going to learn the history of Savannah State. By the time they finish that sophomore year, they're going to be a true tiger. Okay? And they'll have that great core education that they need, and then when they get to their junior, they're going to go to one of these 5 colleges for their academic majors. And then we shuffle them off to the employer. That's the model that we're moving under. But also the university college is going to allow us to house our library, our honors program, our international ed. All of those right now are kind of ancillary programs, ROTC. They're all kind of reporting to the provost. This will put a one unique hub, one unit that we can have all of them in one area so we can have strategy, okay? And our first year and second year experience programming, all under one house. So this is a very, very important college that we'll be standing up within the next year, but it will really help us to uniform the experiences of all of our students because right now that's not happening. They're getting different experiences, and that's not good for our alumni on the back end of that. So I'm very, very excited about that. The other one is extremely important. I've pretty much met with almost every hospital CEO, exec in this area, and they're like, when are you going to give me some nurses? I need some nurses. Can we get some nurses tomorrow? And the answer is, at some point, yes. So allied health and nursing in Savannah is a unique market because it is a growing market, but it's also a retirement community too. We have a lot of folks retiring either at the military, coming from the north, moving to here, and our healthcare systems are really, really strained. If you look at who's providing healthcare right now, Savannah Tech's doing a great job, Georgia Southern Armstrong's doing a great job. USC Beaufort is trying to tip their toe into healthcare, and then TCL, but they can't carry that weight by themselves. But more importantly, a lot of our students who are biology majors, guess what? They want to be healthcare majors. They're coming here to be a nurse or to be a respiratory therapist or to be an occupational therapist. So we are going to start doing our work to get into the healthcare space. It's an expensive space to be in, but one that I think is appropriate for this marketplace. The Board of Regents fully supports us doing this, fully. And I don't think we'll have anybody balking at us entering into this opportunity. And so we'll begin plans on when we're going to execute this, what program we'll start with first. But it's a very, very important part of our portfolio that will be a new college that we're going to have to establish here, but one that will be highly, highly successful if we're going to really meet that workforce need in healthcare. Okay, so these two are coming your way. Now, you're probably saying, well, Dr. Whirl, if you're doing all of that, that means you got to have great enrollment. Yes. We definitely want to grow, all right? So we got all these programs, so we're doing them right. And I have this acronym that I hope that you all will champion with me. It's called 6 by 30. 6 by 30. Our goal is to have 6,000 students by 2030. That's an aggressive goal. That's only 5 years down the road. But we can do it. We've been hovering around 3,300, 3,200 students. We've had enrollment growth over the last year and a half, which has been great. But if you have this catalog of program offerings, if we have these institutes, if we have these new degree programs, people are going to want to come here, okay? And so that means we should be bustling. Savannah is a destination. We need to make sure this university is a destination campus, and that is the intent. Now, how do you get to 6,000 people by 2030? Well, it's not all traditional, okay? What we know is that we have some unique populations that we have not necessarily done a great job serving. These are what I call the big four. When I look at the data and I'm seeing where our students are coming from, the majority of them are traditional high school students, which is great. We're going to continue to do that. But we have basically 2 military installations right here in our back door that we have done little with. We haven't even tapped the potential with them yet. We have several high school districts, of course Chatham being right down the road from us, but Effingham, Liberty County, Bryan County, school superintendents are very, very eager to work with us in dual enrollment. They want to get the high schools here. We're talking about early college opportunities on this campus. The adult learner space is probably the largest space in Savannah. If you just look at how many people in Savannah, just Chatham County, I'm not talking the other surrounding counties, just Chatham County alone, how many people have started but never completed college? Thousands. I'll give you a personal example. My wife and I moved in our home, and we got people doing different services, installing TVs and all of this stuff. And it's just in me. I have to ask them, did you go to college? And she was like, why are you bothering people? I'm like, this is what I do. I'm an educator, so I'm just always curious. But this is the true fact. If she was here, she would tell you this. Every single person that I spoke to started college but never finished. And now they got a business, they're an entrepreneur, doing their own thing. They just never finished. And so, of course, I told them to come here. But more importantly, we have 2 ways for people to complete, one of which a lot of people do not know. I was talking to a young man in the store the other day. He started college here at Savannah State, okay? Started college, and I said, well, what happened? Well, life happened, dropped out. I said, well, how many credit hours you get? He said, I got 45. I said, look, we got an associate's degree. It's only 60. Come back, knock out the associate's at the minimum. He's like, I didn't know you had that. I'm like, good. Come over here. We'll sign you up, right? But those things are literally just low-hanging fruit. We do have an associate's degree that people can knock out within 2 years or less if they have some college. We have bachelor's degrees that are available to them, but we just have not really presented the case or the opportunity. So I look at that as a big opportunity for us. Transfer is a big, big opportunity. Savannah Tech, great partner. President Foley and I have been in the system a long time. We're cooking up a few things, so you'll have to wait for that announcement later. But our technical colleges and the entire system is a big opportunity, especially in the engineering tech space for us. And Dr. Mustafa knows that. Personally, I was one of the few presidents, I believe, in 2021 to sign the agreement for our technical programs at Augusta Tech to transfer into Savannah State. So I know how the tech system works. We will ensure that all those technical college students start coming to the university by the sea. And then the other space that I think is ripe for us, but we have to position ourselves, which is online, okay? We have not really pushed online here at Savannah State, not for any particular reason, but we know that, as an example, our military folks, they might be working on a degree, but they might get deployed, they may have to move. We want them to be able to finish, okay? And if you don't have that, then you lose all of these students. But online is a huge opportunity if we have it in the appropriate programs where there's a need, and building those things so that they can do it not only in a traditional format, because we know adult learners in particular, they want 8-week, 10-week courses accelerated. So how do we do that in a mini-semester format that they have their full academic support services provided virtually? That's where we're headed, and standing that up accordingly, and also pricing it appropriately. So that piece in continuing ed is just such an open opportunity here within this region. So this is how we're going to get the 6 by 30. It's not just the traditional 4 degrees. It's really serving these different populations and providing the avenues for access here at Savannah State. Now, I do want to address the other big opportunity / challenge in the room. Because we know people will want to come here for the traditional housing, residential experience. We're going to have to build more housing units. Point blank. Right now we have about 2,700 rooms, Dr. Dixon, something like that. That's going to be a challenge for us to bring in more traditional students on campus if we cannot grow that. This fall at our September Foundation Board meeting, I'll be talking to the board about how do we grow housing here at Savannah State, because again, I do not want that to be a barrier of entry, but it's one that we're going to have to jump in front of quickly. We're already at 94% capacity for our current housing, so it's tight already. So if we did half of this, we wouldn't have a place to house them. Right now, we would have a long wait list. So we're trying to get in front of that to ensure that we can have this as we're building it into the future, but housing feasibility study will be underway starting this fall. And then, of course, you know, we win in the classroom, we win at graduation. We also want to win on the field, too. We got to win on the field. Athletics is such an important aspect of our student life here. And our student athletes are the best. You know, we just had the men's SEAC championship right here at Savannah State. Winning that, we've had a number of students that have gone on and done wonderful things. But I will tell you, the way for us to be a consistent championship community is we're going to have to think differently about how we do athletics, okay? The big challenge, I think you all know, this is nothing new, is that the athletic world has been flipped on its head by NIL. Just truthfully, it's been flipped on its head. The way we recruit, how we recruit, what student athletes are looking for today, it's a whole different challenge than we faced even 4 or 5 years ago. And one of the things that we have to do here at Savannah State, and we're going to be working with the foundation, is working from our booster club, and our president is here of the booster club. Wave your hand. We got to continue to utilize the booster club, but we also are going to have to format something within our foundation that potentially have a athletic association at some point to get the big dollars in here. We have some facility needs that we need to address, and some of that's just bare bones, just locker rooms. We just got to improve our locker rooms. We have to improve the access. We have to improve the equipment if we want to have a continual championship team right here in Savannah State. So we're going to be working through a plan that we want to present to you all. The foundation board is looking at how do we create potentially a new athletic association. Dr. Holloman and I have had that conversation, working off of the work that's been done with the Booster Club. But this is going to be a heavy lift, and I want to be very upfront with this one. It will be a heavy lift in terms of resources and time, but we can do it. Because if I can move a graduation in 3 days, we can raise money too, okay? We can do it. It's not hard. We got to put our ducks in a row. But I do want our student athletes to have the best experience. We want them to win in the classroom. We want them to have the GPAs. We want them to be great men and women. We want them to have a great career. But we also want them to have the best of the best locker rooms, best equipment, best coaching, best athletic training that's provided. And we want to win. Nobody wants to come to see us lose, right? Okay. All right. Well, we're on the same page. So athletics, more to come on this, but I just want to emphasize that it is a big part of our portfolio, something we're extremely proud of, and we look forward to each of you continuously supporting us as we move into the future. Now, I'm getting to the end here, and you're probably wondering, where's the big slide? We're getting there. Okay, this is the moment you all been waiting on, all right? The moment you've been waiting on. And I know we're right over the 12 o'clock hour. So one of the things that I started this conversation off talking about is this being a anchor institution, an R3 institution, and a regional driver for economic development. And I wholeheartedly believe that we can do all of those things. But that also means that how we look is going to look a little different in a good way. Because when I come to Savannah State and when I'm driving to work, I consider every road to be our territory. Matter of fact, when you cross that state line, you're in Savannah State territory. I believe that. I came from Hilton Head the other day. I called my wife. I said, oh, we in Tiger Nation right now. I love it. But I have a takeover spirit. My team hear me say it all the time. I like taking over stuff. We need to expand our footprint. Okay? We have to expand our footprint. The 201 acres that we're sitting on is phenomenal. It's God's gift to earth. This is one of the most hidden jewels in this United States of America. But the other big opportunity that we do have is that we got to expand the footprint, because this property, if we just focus on growing this alone, we're going to be limited. That's just a reality. That's just based upon the ecosystem, the environmental studies that we've done. There's certain things, certain areas we just can't build. We can't go vertical. We can't do anything with. And that, I don't like to be limited. We want to be an anchor institution for Savannah. We want to drive economic development. I want to make it very easy for Bert to be able to say, yeah, you need to go talk to Dr. Whirl. So let's talk about how we do that. So let's talk about what I call Savannah State 2.0. And that's increasing the footprint to look a little something like this. We need to build a North Campus. Savannah State North Campus, but we need to put it on I-95. Okay? We need to put it on the interstate. Let me tell you why we need to put it on the interstate. And this is a new campus. Okay? New campus. Not a site. There's a difference. Campus. Let's talk about why we need to be on I-95. I'm going to give you two case studies of places I worked recently. So my most recent employer, Augusta Technical College, that picture on the left is our engineering campus that they are building as we speak. This was a project I just left in Augusta. Spent 4 years building it, and then I left it there, so they got to finish it. But they're going to do it. And what this campus is, what we knew was that Augusta is a growing advanced manufacturing economy, and if you want to recruit manufacturers to your area, you needed to have a workforce development campus that really spoke to that. And so we got 60 acres. We worked with Columbia County, got 60 acres off of I-20. They bought the land, and we got the $48 million from the state to build this first building right here in the middle, right there in the middle. That's a brand new building, manufacturing building that's going up at Augusta Tech. The other buildings around it is a combination of private sector investment, government, and K-12, all in one sector. So when Augusta goes out to the world and says, you need to bring your manufacturing facilities here, this is going to be their gold mine right off the interstate. It's going to sell that whole region for the CSRA. We got to do the same thing here. We're on I-95. Other project I was a part of, that's I-85. Anybody ever been up I-85 in Greenville, South Carolina? You might have seen something called the ICAR campus, Clemson, Greenville Tech. I was a part of building that, 2016. That changed the entire ecosystem in Greenville, South Carolina. It's a beautiful downtown, but this is what drives the money in Greenville. Engineering, built the same thing. Built a 100,000 square feet campus there at Greenville Tech in partnership with Clemson. We had Clemson PhDs in our university, our technical college building, the only one in the world, still like that today. What it did for Greenville, it increased economic development activity by 60% in the first year. This is why we need to have a campus on the interstate. So when you drive up, you know you're in Savannah State territory. But we're going to have some premier programs, high-level research, partnership with CETA, partnerships with the county to ensure that not only is it a place for academics, but we want retail, we want housing, we want amenities. How many of you have ever been to South Park in Charlotte? How many of you have ever been to Avalon in Alpharetta? You got that whole amenity space, live, work, play environment, all including with academics. I'll give you a local example. How many of you have been to Tech Square in Atlanta, Georgia Tech? They have the conference center, business school, all one setting. I want that same thing right here in Savannah, Georgia. Why not us? Why not us? That's R3. That's what an R3 looks like. Okay, the tentacle is not only just on this campus throughout Savannah, but we'll have I-95 covered, we'll have this side of Savannah covered, and we're going to grow. That 6,000 number is going to look really small in 5 years, you all. It's going to look really, really small. So I leave you with a few sneak peeks of a few events that I would love for you to come back for part 2 of this speech. Okay? So coming up, first one, same room, October. Come back, October 7th, 11 o'clock. I'm going to give you the State of the University address. So we'll talk about not only what we've accomplished since this time, but we'll talk about next year. And specifically, at that point, we will be unveiling the university's strategic plan. It will be done and complete, and we'll be presenting that to the entire community. And then the last date that I want to put on your calendar is one that I get asked about almost every week. And so I was like, okay, we got to give people an answer because they keep asking, when is it? When is it? When is it? Well, here it is. The investiture date, all right? It's a year. My 1-year anniversary, April 1, so a year from now we'll have it. The beauty of that week, we'll start on a Wednesday. The investiture will be that Friday, and then our gala will be that Saturday. So everything is lined up for you. It will not interfere with Easter or the Masters tournament in Augusta, okay? So I expect you all to come out and be a part of that. Again, that's a celebration of Savannah State. But thank you all for coming out and being a part of this day. I've been so delighted to give you what I've experienced in the last 100 days and hopefully inspire you, let you know that you are in great hands with this team that we've assembled. You're in great hands. This university is in great hands, and the future is very, very bright here at the Savannah State University. You all have a great rest of your day.